Yes, hello everybody and welcome to Tent 2. Today we will have a talk about discrimination in the LGBTI plus community, and it will be Jannebe who is in control of this, so please take it over.
Yeah, hi everyone in the tent, anyone or everyone behind the screens. Thank you for the invitation from Copenhagen Pride that we can do our event today. We are very happy for that. Thank you. My name is Jannebe Mompremier Ruimark-Sanko, and I'm the head of secretariat in LGBT Asylum, and I am so happy and proud to moderate a conversation between our four panelists today. I think in an hour you will know why I am so proud. Today we will have a conversation. That means that it's not a debate. It also means that there won't be no questions from the audience here in the tent or from the audience behind screens. And the reason for that is that it's very important for me and for us that everyone hears what the panelists they have to say. So today, the platform here is our panelist. And it will work in that way that hopefully you will enjoy listening for this next hour we have together. And then it will be a conversation and dialogue between our panelists. And of course, I will moderate whenever necessary. Yeah, so now I will start the presentation of the panelists. And I will start with Mika O. Mika, you are born stateless in Korea, as you are of mixed race and black. Today, you are a mom, you are an activist, and you are an independent consultant and educator in anti-racism and intersectionality. Next year, in 2021, you will present your new lecture about black feminism, intersectional feminism versus white feminism. Please give a hand to Mika. Thank you. Our next panelist, who I'm also very happy to introduce to you, is Salam Toro. Sal, you're an artist, and right now you're also finishing your MA in Gender and Migration Studies. You identify as trans, queer, non-binary, and your sexuality is omnisexual and pansexual. You are born in Portugal, and your heritage is Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, and Cape Verde. You use your body as a tool for transformation of spaces, and you are mainly working with conceptual life art, poetry, sound art, video performance, and embodied practices. Thank you very much. Let's give Sal a hand. And our third panelist that I'm also very happy and proud to present is Maria Mohandes. Maria, you are the chairperson in Sabah. You have over the years arranged several LGBT plus parties, and you have experienced the nightlife and the racism that we don't talk to one another about. Your focus is on inclusion and exclusion, and you also have a focus on LGBT plus people with ethnic minority backgrounds here in Denmark. Thank you. Please welcome Maria. And then we have Mohammed. Mohammed, you are a Syrian gay refugee. You are 35 years old and you are a ship's captain and lives in Frederiksberg. You are also an activist in LGBT Asylum, and your focus is on the structures and things that discriminate within the LGBT plus community, and also solutions on how we can support one another within the community. Thank you very much. Give a big hand to Mohammed. So, as you can hear, we have a very broad panel with various themes to touch upon today. So, therefore, I will now start to pass the word onto the panelists so you can give a short presentation of what you would like to discuss today or to talk about today, what perspective, what themes are important to address. It's very important for me to say that this is not a debate where we will have like a starting point and an ending point. This is just like it's not just, it is an input that is ongoing, and we hope that the LGBT plus community here in Denmark will welcome the conversation today, and that we can put further actions also after Copenhagen Pride Week. Yeah? So, Mohammed, I will now give the words to you. Thank you.
Hello, Anaba, and happy Pride again, and thank you so much for having us. And yes, I'm so happy to be here. I mean, this is the first time also I said like I'm gay, like for people. Normally I don't say that even here in Denmark, because you know it's not easy to say you are gay between the Middle East or like between the Arab friend or like straight people. But I feel like we have to say, and we have to be strong, and we have to be not feel shame because we are gay. We should be happy and proud, and this is why I'm here now. I want to speak, and everyone here have to speak to everyone listening to us after that. This is what.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Maria, please.
Yeah, so there are various things that I would like to discuss, and I think we're all going to touch upon it at one point. But one of the things I would love to talk about is inclusivity in the community, and how we address that, especially here in Denmark. I think the homonationalism is something that we need to address, and also the discrimination that many people of color experience in the nightlife, in the LGBT nightlife, and talk about inclusion in the nightlife in general, because unfortunately we experience a lot of exclusion in the nightlife, and I will give you some specific examples. Something I also want to highlight is this beautiful fist that we have in the middle of the square, which has actually the Philadelphia flag colors on it, the intersectional flags on it, and trans flag as well. This is something that Sabah took with them 3 years ago, and it took Copenhagen Pride 3 years to present it. So how fast is the progress going, or how slow is it going? That's also a perspective that I would like to kind of address. So yeah, thanks.
Yes, please, Sal, will you share your perspective for today? Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say thanks to Yanaba for inviting me here. It's my very first time in this Pride. I've just moved to Copenhagen not so long ago, like actually in the middle of the pandemic. So it's been really interesting to make myself part of the city. What I would like to bring today, I guess it's my perspectives on, you know, being a non-binary person that is also black. I feel like there is an invisibility of this group in particular, and I think especially trans queer and trans mask persons that also happen to be black. I feel like we don't hear this perspective, so I want to talk about what is it to be our own authors when it comes to our own representation, and how can we make ourselves visible, and how can we talk about structures and dismantle structures that do not serve us. And how can we feel just, part of this beautiful community that is the queer community. So that's what I'm bringing today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sal. And Mika, will you please share your themes, perspective for today?
I would love to. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for taking this discussion up or debate or dialogue up with us. I think it's very important. We talk about not just the discrimination, but also how to dismantle, how to decolonize within the LGBT plus community. For me, it's a little bit, I never addressed my sexuality. Maybe because of my work, maybe because I'm old, maybe I'm almost 50. So in that perspective, when I was young, and I also as a black woman, we didn't talk about sexuality in the same kind of way. So for me, when Janaba asked me, I was like, I don't know, I've never talked about loudly about me in the LGBT plus community. I never talk about me as myself, as a position, as a queer. So that is also one of the things today, I think, that will be, I'm a little shaken a little bit. I am bisexual, and I've always been. I've just never addressed it. I never addressed it because I became a mom. I never addressed it because the time didn't tell me that I could talk about it as a black woman. So that's one of the things I also actually that I want to say, that this Pride, I've heard so many young people address these things. I've heard talks where they're talking about bisexuality, talking about the different sexualities in general. And thank you for that, because then an old lady like me dared to come out and say things as it is. My perspective in this, because I am new in the LGBT plus community, like 5 minutes new, is the structural racism that also is within the LGBT community. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but there is things like colorism, there is things we don't talk about. And as a light-skinned person myself, black person, I am very aware about what my black brothers and sisters meet in their everyday, which I don't. So there's many things that we need to address. It's not just about inclusion, it's not just about diversity, it's also about the violence that black and brown LGBT plus people meet every day. So that's my take in this.
Thank you very much, Mika. And I don't know if the audience actually, oh yeah, sorry. Oh, let's give a hand. Oh yeah, oh sorry. Damn, I'm gonna do better, but I think it was also because I got so much into all what you just came with right now. And right now, I don't know if any of you in the audience, in the tent and behind the screens, actually know what just happened here. And I'm actually very touched about it. We have had a lot of crying this week, and it is emotional to have a Pride week. And Mika just got out of the closet. That was what happened. And therefore, I'm gonna ask you, no. Give us a minute, please. Okay, but I hope that we can get back to what, I mean, the impact of discrimination and also racist structures, and also from an intersectional perspective, why it is difficult to also express your sexuality. So I think I will start with asking you a question, Maria, because you said that you have some examples that you could share with us, and I think that could be very good to hear about. Please.
So, I mean, if we're going to speak about the nightlife in general, so I have 10 years of experience by hosting LGBT parties in the meatpacking district. And I started doing that as a volunteer, and what I wanted to bring to the table is something different, something that was a bit more inclusive, something that was not expensive and could kind of include everyone, but also a safer space. And throughout the years, I've kind of tried every now and then to go to the LGBT nightlife. And unfortunately, my experience has been that in general, people of color are treated very differently. So about 3 years ago, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I had a talk actually at Pride with two of the nightclub owners, GAY, one of them, and the other one was Jailhouse, where we discussed this whole inclusivity and having an actual LGBT politics, and not just having them on a poster so it like looks nice on a wall, but doing something about all these microaggressions that people of color receive from security guards, from people who are part of the nightclub, etc. And we made each other this promise of following up on this talk, and I remember reaching out to them and nothing happened. So I thought to myself, maybe something did happen, but they didn't need me, which is fine. You know, that's also okay. But less than 6 months ago, a friend and we were standing in the queue because we wanted to go in and join some of our friends. And while standing in the queue, 3 guys that look actually very similar to you came out of a cab, and immediately the guard goes up to them and says, "Not tonight, guys." And not giving them a proper explanation as to why it's not tonight, why are they being rejected, not even being allowed to stand in line. And later on, we met them actually in Nevermind, and I mean, they're LGBT, so it's not because of their LGBT identity, it's basically only because of how they look and their color of skin and the color of their hair. And we addressed that. My friend was actually very proactive, and he wrote a message to them twice with no response. So even though we address some of these microaggressions and some of this racist discrimination that we experience in the LGBT community here in Copenhagen, it still exists, and it's still part of our everyday lives. That is at least one example I have. And I mean, generally speaking, being a woman of color, I identify as a cis woman. It's not easy to walk around and be proud of your gayness, because people look at you and you make a lot of noise. Because first and foremost, people see the color of my skin, then they see my gender, and then they see my sexuality. And that for them is not something that they can kind of accept. So either they ask you questions like, "Oh, so how do you have sex?" Or do your parents accept you? Do your family accept? Or like, I'm Muslim, so how can you be Muslim and gay? Like, I have to explain myself all the time. So these are like examples that many of our users in Sabah experience, both in the nightlife but also in their everyday life.
Now we'll give the word to Mohammed, and afterwards Mika, and then, yeah.
Thank you, Annaba. I mean, Maria, when she was talking, I feel like she's really talking about me, because I have the same experience here. I didn't notice first 2 years I was working in the ship with Maersk, and I was like all the time out Denmark. But last 2 years, I noticed that like racism it's not only from the people they don't like gay, also from the gay community. This is why I said we have to support each other before we ask people to support us like a gay. Sometimes from the application also, I mean, even this grinder, scarf, all this kind of application, they make like the gay like life like just about sex, about, sorry I can say it, how we size, and this is what your body perfect, and it is make a lot of stress for people. They are not nice sometimes speaking with each other. We are gay, we are very sensitive, we have to care about each other before. We have to be nice. I mean, sometimes even if someone will speak with me, like I don't like maybe him, but I be nice with him, okay, because we need sometimes word. Maybe he needs this nice word sometimes, even his old man, even if he's like, maybe not your type, or we should be nice with people. And this is what I learned because I am very maybe sensitive. I can see myself, everything can affect me, so I need to be nice with people also. In the party or anywhere, like what Maria said, sometimes they come to touch me. Hey, do you have some bomb? Because I look like Muslim. My name is Muhammad, and I keep my name Muhammad. A lot of my friends, they changed to Adam. I like to be Muhammad and gay, because they have to know we have gay and Muhammad and Muslim, even if I don't believe Islam, but I mean it's my name. From 35 years, I don't have to change to accept me. It is my life, I mean. And thank you. And yeah, this is what's happening also in the Oscar Coffee, because you said some of names, so we have to say the name also. The Oscar Coffee, I mean, when the gay go to the club or like gay club, we are going to some place we should have family, like for us, like us. Not also racism inside your place where you are going, like a gay. I can understand if I'm going to another place. But a lot from my friends, they are born here, they are actually Danish, but they look like they are from Malaysia or somewhere. So I see some old people there, they try to speak with them only like Spanish. And he told him, no, speak with me Danish. I'm Danish, I'm born here. No, you look like not like Danish, blue eye. And I mean, it is something crazy sometimes. You think we are in 2020 and we have like these people. It is not my problem if you see this from the news. You have to open your mind and you have to contact me and sit with me and drink something with me before you take this action. I can't, like what she said, I can't go everywhere to explain. I'm very good Muhammad and I'm very good Muslim. I'm not like these people. I feel tired. Sometimes I feel like I want to stay at home. I don't want to be in contact with people because this makes me feel sad. I have to explain all the time for each one. We have, of course, some people, they are bad from Muslim. We have people, they are bad from Denmark. We have a lot of different. I mean, you cannot say all the same. We have to know each other. We have to be close to each other. We don't have to take action about each other, about just because we see some black hair and some, like not a blue eye. I have a lot of nice Danish friends. I have a lot of nice friend also from the Middle East, from everywhere, but we should also focus to be nice with each other. And the racism is like, it's really when we come from the very hard situation. I mean, for me, I left my country for 10 years. I don't see my family for 10 years. I'm not coming to hear some stupid thing, make me more, affect my life more. I just want nice word in this time to feel maybe safe. You are welcome. Not all the time, even the news. I want to say that about the news also. It is too much for us to hear every time from the news, from the politic thing. It's like, oh, refugee. It is not all the time about refugee. It is, you have to focus about what this refugee they need. They are coming from the war country. They are left the home, the country, the family, the everything. They just want to feel safe. They are not coming to hear all this bad thing, and I hope one day we will be like understand each other in the gay community, and also LGBT. We should support each other to be more really supporting each other, and we will be more strong together, because we are like we are like dishes of fruits. You cannot have banana every day. It is nice to have banana and apple and something. This is what we are, like this. And this is the world, and this is alive. And this is what we should be, actually, and here, I mean, we are in 2020. We should start a new, really new future. with us, and I hope one day all they understand that. And I need to say something about also the. Sorry if I was like longer a little bit, or like I have to some small time.
Small.
Small time. It is just because it's a lot of thing for the gay community. I mean, for the Islamic thing also, we should everyone put his religion at home. Believe what you believe. We respect all the religion. I celebrate with all the religion. But please, your religion between you and your God. And this is my feeling. You don't have to tell me what I have to do. This is my life, and this is your life. I don't ask you to be gay. Please don't ask me to be straight. And finish. That's all.
Mika, you had something you want to share?
Yeah, I think, and thank you, because this is so important in so many ways. Not just the stories that we hear, the real life stories of real things happening in life. It's also, I think, one of the things that I talk very much about when I talk about anti-racism is the mental health. When Mohammed is talking, and when we experience violence in our nightlife. No, let me start. The other day I made a talk for DSU, Socialdemokratisk Ungdom here in Denmark. And there was some of the young boys, some of the young people asked me, because I made some references about violence, police violence happening in other countries, also in the States. And we talked about violence also happening here in Denmark. And some of the young people said, oh, well, there is no violence here. There is no violence as we understand, in the States. And I was just like, no, you're totally right. And then we talked about what is violence. Is it violence to be stopped every day at zoneområder in Denmark just because you're black and brown? Is it violence that when you sit in your car, you're being stopped by the police several times doing it just because you are sitting in the car? Is it violence? Is it violence to be stopped because you have some clothing on and from the state are not acceptable? Is it violence? Violence is a lot of things. Violence is not just a knee on your neck. Violence is not just a pistol on your head. Violence is also being stopped by the police just because of your color of your skin. Violence is also not getting in the clubs just because of the color of your skin. Violence is not being allowed walking in the streets by yourself with your friends without getting stopped by the police. So violence is a lot of things. And the thing about that is we need to talk about mental health when we talk about minorities. We never talk about that. We never talk about that racism makes you sick. That racism internalizes mental health sicknesses. I'm in a menopause. It's normal for a woman in almost 50 years, I know. But it's not normal that a woman in her 38 is in her menopause. My body is older than my body really is. And the same with people, and Mohammed is talking about. We will get older, but one of the things that more severe things is, when we talk about mental health, and you meet microaggression, discrimination, racism as violence every day, you will experience depression. You will experience insanity. You will have these things in your life. You will, because you have post-traumatic stress. And all that, if you experience microaggressions and discrimination and racism every day, this is why you do have post-traumatic stress, and it's living every day, and you will have that form for depression. Mental health and racism is very important. We talk about that because the story, yeah, but haven't we heard the stories yet? And haven't we heard them a lot of times, really? Isn't it now the time is that we need to understand the severe damages that we do against people just because of the violence in racism?
Yeah, and now I would like to address you, Sal, because I know that you in your artwork. You also have a focus on these multitudes of queerness, and also a very, I mean, also an intersectional perspective that is very. No, I think I would like for you to put it in words yourself, and because I think it's a very, very important perspective also when you actually talk about the invisibility of black, also I mean black queers, non-binary people, and also to be like a trans queer. So you also talked about in your introduction about about our own authors, and I would just love for you to elaborate. Please take your time to come with your perspective that we need to hear.
Hello? Yes. I'll start by saying that actually in relation to what all of you already said, like, I don't go to clubs because of the violence, precisely because of the violence, because of the fetishization of black bodies. And I was born female, but yeah, in my journey, I came to discover that I have a very gender fluid self, or I have a multitude of selves. And these selves, they all have their own interests and their own identities. And so for me, it's attached to how actually African spirituality sees bodies that contain several energies: feminine, masculine, nameless. And you can think about nature, animals, other beings that you don't even know how they look like, but just a matter of, so it's an energetic, or there's like an energetic vibrational aspect to it. And so to go back to the fetishization of black bodies, so like, I feel like when I go out in the night and I try to go into a club, my body is read in a way that is very undesirable for me. And the people that are doing this reading, they're not interested in actually in what I have to say or what I have to communicate in terms of my own body. So they're already pushing their own ideas about what they know or what they conjure about black bodies, which is something to be consumed, something to be used. So it becomes like completely dehumanized. So then I turn to the decolonial, which you brought, Micah. And with this idea of decolonizing myself, and then I extend to spaces. So I work with creating my own spaces, or spaces of communities where I am involved. So I've been involved with the Norrebro Pride, and Norrebro Pride is very much focused on creating spaces for Black, Indigenous, Asian, and people of color, and to center these bodies, because we don't have spaces where we can feel safe, because we're constantly suffering this fetishization, violence. I get harassed all the time because people think that, and especially like if I'm romantically involved with someone who will be read as feminine or female, then there is this disgusting gaze of I guess from the male, from male bodies, that they want to consume that. They want to consume that desire. They want to be included, and I'm like, but who called you here? You know, why are you trying to insert yourself here? And I was walking in Berlin once, and I participated in a Cutie BIPOC festival. So it was a festival. It was a queer festival reserved for people of color only, and it was amazing to be in a space like that because we didn't have we could have a space where we were free from this violent white gaze that becomes quite violent in our bodies. So to be in a space like that was very emotional. I've spent, so it was like 3 days. I've spent my whole time just talking to everybody, and I was just, after 5 hours, I was just getting really exhausted because the conversations were endless, and we had different spaces for like centering, for instance, dark-skinned African people, which is something that I've never experienced before. What is it to be in a space where only dark-skinned people can talk about their experiences and not suffer this whole internalized violence that we go through here. I want to go back to creating our own space, and it was also really interesting what you said, Mohammed, when it comes to affirming yourself, affirming your own identity, and walking with pride for who you are and for people that are like you. And I think for us, people of color, it's super important to do this kind of work, because with all this violence and trauma that we experience every day, we need tools, and it's a constant work. And it doesn't mean that we also don't experience, racist structures in our own communities. I think because, living in amongst white spaces, we end up internalizing a lot of violence ourselves, and we end up also enacting a lot of violence towards ourselves and people within our own community. And these are all things that it's very unaddressed, and especially in Denmark, in a country in which racism is completely denied constantly. There is this lack of acknowledgement that Denmark has racist structures in all spheres of life. And how can we then lead conversations about discrimination if we can't even acknowledge that we live in a racist society? Thank you. So I also work a lot with healing in my own work. I've been very invested in creating spaces of healing for Black people, because I think we are a community that really needs a lot of healing. And giving the latest events, like with Philipstad in Bornholm, which was something that brought so much trauma. Just due to Corona, we had to stay at home and watch this happening, or watch how the media was portraying this whole thing. And then other cases in the United States, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and I've been seeing, I think especially Black trans people just getting killed every day in such large numbers, and it just makes me so freaking depressed. And I'm like, how do I deal with that energy in my own body? How do I discharge on all this death around me? And who do I talk to? Because if we walk in this society where people are constantly denying racism, where can I go, right? I think there's really so much to talk about here. I feel like it's like, whew, where do I start?
Yeah, but Sal, you could take a little break now, and then we will get back to you because, yeah, I know there's a lot. I'm gonna look towards you now, Maria, because you also talked about microaggressions, and then to take up what you have also been talking about here, Sal, about the internalizing and also of the racist structures. So the racist structures that we actually see in the society, how those structures is also seen within the LGBTI plus community, and also about how we as colored people, as black people, as black queers, how we are read. You talked about, Maria, that you have tried through several years, you and also in Sabah, that you have tried to reach out to the community, right? And that you have been met with, no responding, and again being invisible. So could you maybe elaborate about, not what we could do again, but more about how you see it. How you see that the internalized racism or phobia or something from the community, from the the society surrounding the community. Yeah.
Does it work? Yeah. So one of the things I mentioned was obviously the nightlife, but I also mentioned the intersectional flag. And I think there's a queer media called XQ28, if anyone knows it. I think that's what it's called. And they put an article out during this week about the flag and whether we should change it, right? Because the mainstream rainbow flag contains 6 colors, and many refer to it as the original, but funny enough, it's not the original. The original contained also the pink and the turquoise, but and it was created in the 70s. So this is just a bit of background for some people who don't know this. And in general, the pink and the turquoise was taken off because of lack of fabric, and it was quite expensive. And they wanted to create a lot of them during, I think, when Harvey Milk died. They wanted to create a lot of them in San Francisco, and that's why they just chose to remove the pink and the turquoise. A couple of years ago, the Philadelphia flag was created to represent brown and black people because we were basically invisible. And funny enough, the whole Stonewall movement and the tent we're sitting in, right? It's Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. Like, we're sitting in tents that represent trans, queer women of color and black women, right? So funny enough, we're completely invisible, although some of the front activists of this movement were people of color and black trans women. So this flag was kind of created to represent, or at least give us some visibility. And bringing this article out, if you just scroll through the comments, it's insane that in 2020 we still have to deal with, it doesn't matter what color of skin you have, because underneath it we're all the same. It's like saying all lives matter. So, and I think one comment was, can't we all just be colorblind? Well, that's very cool for you because you're privileged and because you're white and a cis man. That you can choose to be colorblind because everything is surrounded and built to please you. So for me, at least, it's very important to address these microaggressions because they are still happening and they continue on happening. So where do we start and how do we solve it? If I had the solution, I wouldn't be sitting here, I suppose. But first and foremost, I think creating safer spaces is needed. And while some people might question, why can't we ask questions? Why is this a conversation? I think the forum and the format of this is perfect, because this is about listening. And we cannot start to improve if we do not start to listen. We need to listen and acknowledge people of color's experiences. We need to acknowledge our privileges. I sit here with a privilege. My color of skin, my complexion gives me some privileges that you don't have. And I need to acknowledge that. And that took me a while, but it took me conversations and it took me some listening. And I think me as a straight passing woman walking down the street, that gives me privilege, and I need to acknowledge my privilege. If I don't do that, then I am not progressing, and I'm not listening to the people that actually need to be heard. I'm not giving space to the people that actually need a space. A couple of days ago, you were part of a talk about racism, anti-racism. And initially, I was asked to be part of the panel. And the focus was trans women, trans black women, and trans women of color. And I decided not to do it and give the space to a trans woman that's black instead, because it's me acknowledging my privilege. I get asked because I have a specific position in Sabah, and I am approachable because I speak Danish. And for me, it was important that we also are part of the movement is also pushing on some of those microaggressions that we experience, but also pushing the agenda forward, the people of color's agenda forward, because we do need allies. We cannot do this alone. Walking and marching with Black Lives Matter, for me, was acknowledging my privilege as a brown person. I did not go forward. I left the space for the black community to walk forward because this is their space. But I'm here as an ally. And we need our allies to support us, but we need them to listen first. So I would say listening and acknowledging our pain, acknowledging our experiences, acknowledging the violence we experience by getting exotified, by talking about our color of skin as if it doesn't matter, right? Because yes, underneath our color of skin, we're the same, but people see my color of skin as the first thing, and not the second thing, not the third thing, it's the first thing they see. So yeah, listening.
Yes, Sal?
Yeah, I would like to answer that. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that, because yeah, I think the first thing is listening and acknowledgement. And I also like to think about asking difficult questions. Ask yourself, why is it, like, why do I need a brown or black person to fit my own models of, you know, what a decent life is? Or why do I need, for instance, you know, with this whole thing about being colorblind, like, why do, like, as a white person, like, why do I need this black or brown person to erase themselves in order to make me feel comfortable? Why is that important for me? And if we talk about queerness, for instance, like, why do I need black and brown bodies to fit within, for instance, Western forms of queerness, which I think is also a pretty interesting thing to talk about. And I also wanted to say, like, I mean, there's so much information out there. I live in a collective. I live at Bumsen. And I moved there a couple of months ago. And so I've been trying, so like we have a majority of white people in this collective. It's an activist political space, mostly working with anti-fascism. And so when I moved there, I was quite excited because there was one person who addressed the issue of whiteness. They told me that, hey, we are a majority of white people in this house, so this might be an issue for you. And you know, I was really like, wow, this is the first time that I hear a white person addressing whiteness directly as being an issue for my body. And so some months have passed, and now we are at a point where we're talking about, you know, like we are questioning, or the house is questioning, like, why is the space so white? And why is it that we only get white collectivists? And why is there only like a person of color in this space? And so like I've been asking my roommates to sort of keep digging, you know, and keep going deeper within this. Also because, I mean, these questions brought a lot of discomfort, because I think it brings this idea that, oh, we're doing something wrong. We are failing. We have failed. And so it brings a lot of guilt, white guilt. I'm sure you all, or most of you maybe, have heard of this term. So so yeah, I've been asking people in my collective to sort of carrying this examination, and so that we're gonna be able to change the structures of this place, and to be able to create like a safe space for people of color. And I think this is something that, in general, the white community, the white allies need to do. I've been reading a lot about cultural semantics, which is this way of understanding oppression as something that is traumatic for the body, and that it's something that we all share in different levels. And then they had this very fancy term called master enslavement syndrome, which is something that white people inherit from their ancestors, from colonizer ancestors. And so this creates, so basically this syndrome creates this whole avoidance when it comes to talking about race, or even seeing race, and being able to be interested in anti-racist discourses. And I was really fascinated by this, because it was the first time that I saw this connection of trauma and then social issues that touch my body, but also that something that white people inherit, and it's something that they have to work through, and it's something that, well, there needs to be a willingness to work towards these things, which is hard to create when there is this constant avoidance. But yeah, as you say, we need to keep asking for this acknowledgement, and to actually dismantle the structures that keep oppressing us. So and that is done through learning, through acknowledgement, through examining your own experiences of trauma, because I think there's also a lot of trauma when it comes to you know, inherit these structures that all of us experience in the world.
Sal?
Yeah.
We are running a little bit out of time now, so now I have to round it up. I wish we had much more time, because it's super, important perspective. But I have to give the word now. Thank you. To Mika, and then again to Mohammed. And just for the panelists, we have 6 minutes left.
I will try to make it short. Oh my God. Anyways, I will take it up with the one love story. The could we all just love each other and then everything will disappear? Well, the thing is, that is not happening. We cannot just make things disappear. We cannot just make one love and one rainbow and then everything is fantastic. Barbara Smith noticed that in the 60s when she was sitting in the field with a lot of white women, white feminists, talking about in this feminist white liberation, women's liberation in the 60s. And she talked about one love. We should all just love each other and all women support each other and all people should just support each other. And with all that, Barbara Smith could also see and hear, and well, nothing changed, did it? White women are still just talking about not taking action, not taking responsibility, not being accountable for their own story, white people in general. So in the 60s, Barbara Smith noticed that. And in the 1974 Combahee River Collective wrote a statement, a manifest that actually describes the oppression structure, not just within the black feminism, but also in the structure. Angela White Davis also wrote it in one of her books, in how we can dismantle and how we can break down the barriers in the white racist structure. So for that to happen, we must learn. For that to happen, we must listen. And if we listen, we can reflect. If we reflect, we can acknowledge. So we have to take that in those steps, or white people do especially, to learn how do I dismantle that internalized racism that I am raised into because I'm white, living under the white structure, that are racist structure, also capitalistic. So you need to learn that. You need to take it in steps. As you said, listen. Listen is the tool to reflect, is the tool to acknowledge. And when you can acknowledge, you can also take that responsibility and you can take that guilt of that white guilt and you can work with it in a progress that not a personal within you. So suddenly racism won't be a personal statement, but a structural statement. That's why it's so important to know that structural racism is not personal. It's a structure. It's institutional racism. And in that is something that you're raised into. You're born into it, and you're raised into it, and that's why we also can say that racism is a cultural DNA, because there's a thing in you that you need to dismantle. So
Mika?
And that, yeah, exactly, that's my last note. So in that, I would say to learn how to dismantle racism is to start with to listen. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I could listen to the four of you for the rest of the day, and now we have 1 minute left. Yeah, I know, right? Just a minute. Can we have more time? A little more time. You have 2 minutes, and then
fast.
Thank you.
Because she said about listen in my Facebook account, sometimes I speak about racism or what experience happened to me here in Denmark. Of course, I have a lot of nice things happening to me also in Denmark, not only racism, because we need to also to focus about that. And some of my friend, he just unfriended me in the Facebook. He said, I don't want to hear all this drama all the time. I said, no, you have to hear, because we are not in the paradise. We have to hear. We have a problem sometimes. Even if you are in Denmark, we have a problem and we have to speak. I left my country 10 years to be here, to feel freedom, not to be also in the same situation. No, I will back to my country. It's much better for me in this time. So I have to say, we have to also, because he said to me, you have to be thankful just because you are in Denmark. I am very happy because I'm in Denmark. But also I have to speak what I have a problem here. And I have to make a change. And at the same time, I just to say, in the Islamic side, when they also complain about racism, also they have to know they are also racism with LGBT, with gay. So everyone he have racism. We don't say every part, the white people, they have something with another, the Islamic way they have. So everyone have some racism. Before I asked about my rights, like Muslim, I have to also respect the gay people. before I go in the street, like to make a ashura or anything in Nobro, also I have to allow to gay people to make a bride. This is what means freedom for us. I will respect you, you will respect me. And this is what I want to say. I want just to say that. And I hope one day we will be all together the same. We don't have difference between us. It not mean if you are black or if you have black hair, it means I should be dealer or mafia, or maybe I should be like something bad. Not because maybe 100 people, they are bad. It's all they are bad. If I see 10 people from Denmark, they are bad, I will not say all Danish bad. So we have all the time to make contact with people, to know each other and love each other. And we should be really proud because we are gay. And thank you so much for that answer.
And that could have been the perfect closing remark, but we got 5 minutes more. And so meaning that if any of you want a closing remark, because I'm so sorry that I cut you off before, because, you know, I want to listen to you. So, 1 minute for each, and then 30 minutes for me in the end. Okay, so Mika first.
I don't have anything really but thank you. And thank you, I think Pride really tried to take another step, a notch up in the intersectional way of perspective and see how things also are. So because black people, non-binary people, trans people, I just made an ID post today talking about, again, black trans people are not visible. We don't see them. We don't talk about them. And don't forget we're sitting in Marsha P. Johnson's tent. Don't forget that she was that woman. And that is why we do have Pride today. Let's talk about that. Let's address that. And let's make Pride what Pride is in the right perspective. And let our black trans brothers and sisters and siblings, let them show themselves and let us make that space for them. It cannot be right that we're sitting in the same tent and we still don't see the people that created this space for all of us to be in. So thank you, Pride, and thank you for us being here, Janaba. Thank you for this talk. Very necessary, very important.
Thank you, Mika. Yes, Sal?
I guess I will conclude with a shout out to my beautiful trans, black, queer people out there. Just a lot of love for y'all. We are here, we exist, and we deserve to take space. So take that space and keep healing as well. Yeah. Yes. And thank you, Janaba, again, and Pride, Copenhagen Pride, for this opportunity.
Maria?
So I'll end this note, so Marsha P. Johnson. The P, I don't know if anyone knows this, stands for pay no mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I could end it on this, but I would like to use a P to say pay attention. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Janaba.
Just notice about the people they have HIV also. The people they have HIV also, they have racism from the gay community. People they have HIV, they are normal people. So we have to be normal with them. They are like more safe than other people. So I want to say in the camp, when I come here in the Sonneborg camp, I ask for HIV test. They tell me it's very expensive. And this is not should be in Denmark to care about expensive. You should be like, here is free of course, but they make it because of in the camp. So just I want to notice about this point, we have to focus about the HIV. They are normal people, they have to be alive. I know friends, they lost 2 relationships because they don't want to be with people they have HIV. So it's something very difficult also for people from the gay community. And the last thing I want to say, we are, the world without gay is like a garden without flowers. Just I want to say that.
So I just wanna thank you all for making us listen, and I hope that all of you will take all the strong voices from all of you with you, so we can also continue the conversation about discrimination in our LGBTI plus community. So I am very, very honored and humbled that I have been moderating your conversation today. I hope that next year we're gonna have like 3 hours, and then we will we will be in that space where we can open up for questions and actually have a dialogue. But right now, I hope that you will take the voices with you in your hearts. And then I just want to say a big thank you to Mohammed Sorati, to Maria Mohandas, to Salam Toro, and to Mika O. Thank you!
And of course, a big thank you to Janabe also. I really love that you got a minute, you took 5, and could I give you the 10 for the rest of the day, I would. But we have another thing on the program later. It's Femme, Fabulous and Male, Volume 2. It's a conversation we had back at the Winter Pride this year. We will continue it, and we will see about which famous celebrities, feminist guys that is out there, and what problems. One of the things I really like is, can there be too much glitter, and how much glitter is too much? We will get the answer for that, hopefully. But again, thank you so much. I really like this talk. I really like to have the time to listen to it. Thank you.